If you're a Christian, I want you to know that the abundant life that Jesus promised in Scripture is within reach. God wants to give it to you, but the T is the problem is not Him, it's you. Today, we're going to talk about one of the reasons why you may not be experiencing the life that Jesus promised in abundance because you're not a good steward. You're not showing yourself that you could be trusted with more. And I've been there. And so today I'm going to walk you through the process of stewardship. And if you haven't watched the previous video on stewardship versus striving and the stories of Martha in Proverbs 31, that would be helpful. But we're just going to go ahead and get started. So hi, my name is Shanice Victoria, and this is Life More Abundantly, where we are taking principles of the Bible and applying it to our lives to have that abundant life that Jesus promised. So, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope that you stick around. So today we are going to be talking about how to practically apply the principles of stewardship. And so if you got the reflection guide when we talked about the Proverbs 31 woman, then you have some resources and some tools on some of the things that I'm going to bring up here. But if you want to go deeper and you want a community of people to walk this out with, then you can join the Substack, which is at the link below, and it is completely free. So in the last video, we talked about the Proverbs 31 woman and how she is the ultimate goal for most Christian women, and people want to be her so bad. But the question is, do you have the capacity to handle all the things that she was given? And you probably don't. And it's okay, because she is not really a real person anyway. She's just a picture of womanhood. And so if we partner with the Lord will, in the process of stewardship, He will expand your capacity. The more that you take care of the things that He is giving you, well, He will expand and provide you other opportunities to handle more. And so the question is, how are you handling what God has given you right now? If you were to get $100 right now, how would you spend it? Would you tithe off of it first? Would you do an offering? Would you think about giving in general? If the Lord can't trust you with $100, then why would He give you 1,000 or 10,000? We have to really start living the way that we want to live in the future now. And so in the Proverbs 31 woman, she's generous, she's compassionate, she's a business owner, she's doing all these things. But how can you show up as that version of yourself today? In our very first couple videos, I talked about planning and Esther and things like that. And in that planning video, I talked about who is the person that you're aspiring to be? What version of yourself do you desire to be? And writing that out and bringing it before the Lord. And so if we are really hoping to become more like a picture of this woman, then it is in partnership with the Lord that He will grow us in these areas. But you can start right now. So what is your part? That's the question. What is your part? And so it's handling things right now that you would be able to build upon and handle at a greater capacity in the future. So again, if the Lord were to give you $100 right now, $100 right now, or $1,000 right now, how you spend that money will determine how you would spend $10,000 if it came to you out of nowhere tomorrow. And when I say out of nowhere, that's loose, because we know that it's all coming from the Lord. So if the Lord gave it to you as a surprise, something that you didn't expect, do you already have the mindset or the practices or the habits of what you would do with it that will reflect who you're truly trying to become? That's a question to ask yourself. So this is a principle that goes beyond money too. So if you are desiring children, how do you steward God's children now that aren't biologically yours? How do you steward your husband? He's God's child. Do you treat him with kindness and compassion and serving without expectation of what's to come on the other side? Do you take care of other people's children when people ask you to babysit? Do you babysit? If you have nieces and nephews, do you care for them? Do you pray for them? Because that's the big one. We talked about that in the Proverbs 31 woman. Our position as women of God is intercession and not being distracted so we can carefully watch all the things that are happening in front of us. So how are you stewarding the children in your life beyond the ones that you are desiring for the Lord to give you? And how are you taking care of God's children? Show yourself approved in taking care of his children before he gives you your children. So if you want to be trusted with more, ask yourself, am I really trustworthy of more in my current state? And I had to ask myself that question, and the answer was no, I was not. When we read the verse in the Proverbs 31 chapter that says she suffers nothing from laziness, and you read the whole chapter and they talk about diligence and strength and all these things, I couldn't really say that about myself in every area of my life. And it was really because of my comfort zone. I wasn't lazy in general because I have accomplished so many things in the corporate space that I was really just coasting. And I feel like a lot of people are in that space where we're just coasting. We're not doing what would cause us discomfort by doing a little more. And so the Lord called me to do the 75 hard. Okay. And if you know what the 75 hard is, then it's like, what the world? But he led me to do it more as a fast. And so I renamed it to the 75 days dependent on Jesus. Okay. And let me tell you, it was intended for me to crucify my flesh, to kill these areas of comfort so that I would be a better steward of the life that the Lord has given me. And that is important because stewardship is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. And in the process, it's not about the things that you gain. So a lot of what the Lord is doing in us is changing our heart posture and purifying our desires. Sometimes we are looking at the outcome, the abundance, the wealth, and how she is praised and things like that. And our desire is for the outcome. The Lord is more interested in producing those things in you and who you become in the process to be able to handle those things is what he's after. And so sometimes we can be enticed with some of the luxuries that are listed, or some of the accomplishments or outcomes or things like that, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to want more or to be trusted with more. But the Lord is not really concerned about giving you all these things. He's more concerned about who you become in the process that allows him to be able to trust you with these things. And so it was really beneficial for me to go on a fast because it's eliminating those distractions and getting me in the presence of the Lord intentionally and hearing from him in these areas and relying on his strength to do it. So that has been a common theme weaved throughout these videos. A lot of times we want to do things in our own effort, but God is trying to get us more reliant and dependent on him, to use his strength, to use his wisdom to carry us through, rather than our own logic, our own intelligence, our own strength, our own motivation and willpower. And that is the struggle that we're in right now. This self-reliance and independence of how we can go about things instead of relying on the one who wants to give us everything. He wants us to lean on him. And so that's what the 75 days of depending on Jesus has been doing for me. I am on day 27 at the time this is recorded, and I'm not sure when this will be posted. I'm sure I'll probably be done with the challenge by then. But the 75 days hard, if you're not familiar with it, is something that was going around social media for a while, where you just kill excuses and you just show up every single day no matter what, which was really important for me because I didn't really live like a completely sedentary lifestyle. Kind of. I worked out and things, but I had a lot of conditions. Like I wasn't going to do certain things when I was on my cycle. If I had a bad day and I didn't want to do it, it's okay. I'll just do whatever I need to do tomorrow. I suffered a lot from procrastination and complaining and gossip. But I thought it was okay because I wasn't really hurting anybody per se, or I was just inconsistent. And once I started to be around my fiance, I realized that, self control was actually a little harder when you are dealing with the person that you're supposed to deal with. Self control is easier when you're not tempted by, the person that you're with. But when you are preparing for marriage, and in this season where you're committed to a person versus in covenant with a person, things get a little blurry. And I thank God that He has kept me and I have not fallen completely into sin in these areas. But it was a wake up call that I could, because my flesh was so comfortable. And it was so easy for me to make exceptions because that's what I was doing in my life. And so the 75 days, depending on Jesus, for me, it incorporated some spiritual elements in 75 days hard. So the 75 days includes you having to work out twice a day, and one of those workouts has to be outside, which I rolled my eyes at in the beginning, but I really actually enjoy it now because getting fresh air. I work from home, so I don't typically go outdoors every day, or I didn't before. And so working out outside is a walk with my fiance, and that has actually been one of my favorite things since I've started the challenge. So working out twice a day, one of them being outside. Then you have to drink a gallon of water a day. And I have it right here. Okay, I bought one of these and it has like time marks to kind of help you. I don't know if y'all can see it. And in the early stages, it was hard. I would get to the end of the day and I'll be chugging all the things at the last minute. My stomach would hurt so bad and I'll be peeing all through the night. And, it just really was teaching me time management, because why are you waiting to the last minute? Again, that procrastination piece. You have to read 10 pages of a book every day and take a progress picture. You have to follow some specific eating plan. And for me, I just eliminated fried foods and sugar. So not like little sugars. It's like more so like sweets, desserts, and being mindful of the processed sugar. So I tried to limit added sugars. So that was my metric. And what else? I think that's all for the actual challenge itself. Now, because I was doing this as a fast, I added different things to really encourage the spiritual aspect. So I eliminated social media completely, and I have to watch a sermon a day. And so if you watch my video earlier on planning for the year with God, then a lot of the things that I put in the challenge reflect the principles that I outlined in that video. So if you haven't watched that and you're considering doing something similar, I would encourage you to go back and watch that, and I'll link it here for you to be able to do that. And so I added a sermon a day, biblical affirmations. I put in studying every single day because I spend time with the Lord very diligently throughout the week. But on the weekends, I would be a little bit more lax. So again, it's being more consistent in every single day and not giving your flesh, some leeway on comforting things of I actually want to sleep in on Saturday. No, I'm becoming a woman who is diligent with her time, who is healthy and works out for the benefit of her body rather than just what it looks like on the outside. It's getting to the root of who you are becoming in Christ and putting these habits in the challenge for you to show up consistently every single day for 75 days. So another thing was practicing Spanish every day and working on my businesses. So the Lord, this year has been focusing on a different business every quarter. And so I have to spend and do something for the business every single day. And so I am 27 days in, and I'm not going to lie, y'all, the first few days was rough because I ended up catching the flu. And then after the flu, during the flu, I started my cycle. And the old me would have easily said, oh no, I'm just going to start after this. But I was tested immediately. And I'm actually glad that I was, because ever since then, it actually made me realize that I can actually do this. If I was able to get past the days where I had the flu and I felt terrible, and then I was on my cycle at the same time, I can literally do I can do it. I can go beyond it. And so it's teaching your flesh that, like, you're not in control of me. I'm in control of you. And it's building that self-control and stewardship. So I've developed a schedule to be able to manage my time effectively, to be able to accomplish all of these things every single day. And the goal of it is, by the end of it, to not be motivated by checking things off, but it has become such a consistent routine for me that that's just how I live my life now. And so there are different versions. You can have modified ones in the app. It has like a soft version and a medium, and you can customize it to what you want. But if this is speaking to you and it's like revealing to you that you probably should try something that will force you to be consistent every single day and not make excuses, then this might be something that you should consider doing. And so in the Substack, I will give you guys more practical things that I did to be able to do these things. And that is what the Substack community is for. If you want more insight into how I'm actually doing these things in my everyday life, that is definitely the place to go. And also the reflection guides. I partner with the Lord to develop those reflection guides for you to bring these things to the Lord in prayer and see what He has to say about it and how this applies specifically to you. So again, stewardship is a process. And so, it's opening yourself up to the Lord. It's disciplining yourself to be in partnership with Him of where you are going. And then it's eliminating those excuses and showing up every single time. So don't focus so much on the outcome of what you're looking for, having wealth or having a thriving business. Don't focus so much on that. Focus on who you want to become in the process. And so again, go back and watch the first video on planning with the Lord to walk out how you can go about discovering these things and then partnering with the Lord to do so. And then just be open to His leading. A lot of this is being just sensitive to His Spirit. In the next video, we're going to explore limiting beliefs and what you truly believe, because beyond the stewardship piece of it, a lot of times we're hindering ourselves with so many different things. And so you have to ask yourself, why am I not doing these things? Why am I not stewarding these things well? Is there something that I believe that is sabotaging my own self? And so we're going to deep dive into Veronica, and I'll explain who Veronica is in the next video. But I pray that this blessed you. I hope that you are able to spend time with the Lord and reveal how this applies to you and what you can do to get into a better space and a better place of stewardship and be trusted with more. And so I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.